Combat, 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 combat.
What's up, Vegas?
Hello, Vegas.
The hills are alive with the sound of Lando, with songs Brian has sung for 1,000 years.
Yes, I have. My heart will be blessed with the sound of Lando. And he almost fucked that up.
What an amazing thing we have going on here.
Finally.
And it's amazing. It's amazing that we got this going on. It's amazing that they actually were back. They didn't start next to each other, but Oscar made that amazing. He needed that to get that done quickly. He got it done quickly. He was right on Lando's ass. And just the personalities. And it's pride. We're all about diversity here.
Yes.
This is a diverse championship.
Yes, that's right.
For neurodiversity. Because we got a basket case versus sociopath.
Sure.
And it's a battle of just two guys on the opposite end of the mental spectrum.
Yes.
One guy having all the thoughts, one guy having none of the thoughts. and it's just a clash of neurodiverse kings.
Yes.
And as a basket case myself with anxiety disorder.
Right.
It's like reading a Philip Roth. Everyone's saying, "Oh, you got to read Philip Roth. You got to read Philip Roth." And I'm like, this is not escapist for me. Lando, I know what that's like.
Right.
Oscar, I'm like, this is a vacation for me. It's a total vacation for me. This guy's got no sweat, no worries. Yeah. And just that culture clash. And even we saw it today, Oscar was just relentlessly and Lando won. He won fair and square.
Yes,
he had a better weekend.
Yes, he did.
But we just see Oscar just meticulously reeling him in.
Dude.
And Lando being like, help me. Help me! I need help!
Where am I slower? Where am I slower? Guys, come on!
Please! He was saying, please!
Am I fast? Is he faster everywhere? Fuck! This is, of course, the Red Flags podcast brought to you by BetMGM. We're talking all things the Austrian GP. The hills were alive with the sound of Lando this week. We're going to be covering this whole week. We might even dip into a little bit of the F1 movie. If you want to hear our full reaction to that, you can go to patreon.com/TRFpod. But
subscribe to YouTube, okay? Because I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of getting these comments. And I know I'm going to get more of them now, which is engagement, which is fine. Being like, oh my God, this podcast is amazing. Criminally unsubscribe. Keep it up, guys.
Yeah.
Don't quit.
It's like,
don't jump. Don't jump.
How do you guys not have more followers?
Yeah. So fucking subscribe.
Yeah,
and if you're listening on you're listening on Apple or Spotify, go on to YouTube, subscribe there.
Yeah.
Do it. And subscribe to the Patreon, okay? We're not as rich as we look. I mean, if you just pan this apartment, you would understand. You would understand the situation. Yeah. It's pretty bleak.
Yeah, we need your subscription. But okay, enough of that, enough pleading, enough bargaining. Let's discuss what just happened. Lando Norris won the race, but this was as we just said, this was like it feels like it's finally clear that it's going to be these two people. Yes.
And they finally thankfully they started 1-2 basically.
Yes.
And got to battle.
Well, because Oscar Piastri was pissed when that yellow flag, when he didn't get to put in a flyer in qualifying, even though I don't think he really was like, oh, pole's really on, but he was like, I was definitely going to get second. I think he would have definitely been starting right behind Lando, which would have made this race even that much crazier. If that had happened when the yellow flag came out and he knew he wasn't going to be able to set that fastest lap, he was on the radio. He was like, "Oh, Jesus fucking Christ!" He said that.
He said, "Jesus." That was they didn't play that.
I know they didn't because they're trying to keep up appearances. But
it's bad for the brand.
Oscar Piastri said, "Jesus fucking Christ! I'm not going to be able to put in a flyer." For Oscar Piastri to say that,
That means he's homicidal.
Translation is, I'm going to murder Suey everyone here.
Yeah.
The translation is, I'm going to murder someone.
And that
tonight.
person was Leclerc.
Well, that person was, And then he wanted to murder Pierre Gasly in that moment, but then who he got to have an opportunity to murder was Charles Leclerc, which he did very swiftly.
Yes. And he was like, well, I should have been doing that to Lando. That you know, that's usually what I do to Lando. I get a great start and I just get him there. And I think I get what you do, like when Lando crashes and you're like, I'm hopeful. This gets me hopeful because Lando went for it. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
This was a hopeful race for me as an Oscar Piastri fan, because all we hear is like, oh, Lando got better race pace. He got better race pace. He's a faster overall driver. And Oscar, he's not as good on his tires. Oscar, in hot conditions where Alonso his ass was literally bacon on a skillet. Hot track conditions. In Lando's dirty air, kept up with him. Yeah, he was always a problem. And people, I know the counter was just like, well, Lando, he might have been saving his tires. I don't think he was. I think he was, because he was on the radio, be like, Jesus Christ, guys, help me out. I don't think he was. It didn't sound. Lando was doing an impression of somebody that was struggling to stay ahead of it.
I do not think that Lando was saving his tires.
Yes.
I think that Oscar Piastri was on his ass. He was pushing him. I mean, Lando was unable to get Oscar out of his DRS. Like, Oscar was
right there,
and was within a second the whole time. And he was pushing him. He was able to stay with him. I think similar, what I was saying about last week or in Canada. It's like, Oscar, obviously had the better weekend overall, but on the race day, Lando had the pace. I think today, Oscar had a better actual race than Lando did.
Yeah.
Lando was kind of bit all over the place.
But see, it doesn't matter as long as you, in the key moment, when push came to shove, when Oscar got on him, Lando that's all that, even if he had a worse race, he put it together when it mattered.
Right, but it makes you hopeful. It's like this doesn't feel as bad as an Oscar fan, because Oscar put in a strong race today. He was on his ass. He wasn't able to get him. The one moment that I was really, it's like that battle was amazing. For those 20 laps where he was in DRS the whole time, I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, that opening stint.
And
was amazing.
it really was it was full Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Just Lando's where is he? Where is he? And then Oscar's just walking with a knife, just ready to fucking murder him.
Walking, doesn't, just relentless. Even when he gets hit by a fucking. Yeah. Remember when Franco Colapinto almost ended the fucking championship? Yeah. That was crazy in the lap when he was trying to unlap Franco. Yeah, that was an amazing first stint. Then it got kind of boring as shit.
Well, it was kind of interesting. It was so the first stint happens. Oscar's on his ass. They're clearing the field. They're I'm oh, you guys are going to destroy your tires. It's this McLaren is so much better than the rest of the field right now that they don't even have to worry about destroying their tires. They can just race each other full tilt and still come out ahead. But Oscar's on him. Finally, then he gets the overtake done. This was one of the and this, there's been a lot of talk about Lando's racecraft this year. That Lando doesn't have as nearly as good racecraft as Oscar. This racecraft is suffering. His racecraft is suffering. And I think today we saw moments of that, definitely. But when Oscar overtook him and Lando knew that it was happening, and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna swing around to the outside, get a good exit, and re-overtake you with the DRS. He played the DRS game very well. I was kind of shocked when that happened, when he was able to pull that move and not just give up the place.
Yes.
That was one of the more impressive Lando moments on track, maybe that I've ever seen in race trim.
Yes. And it always seemed like when Oscar was trying, Lando had the car positioned in the right place where Oscar really had to back off. He couldn't really go for it. And so just even the passes, I think a lot of the skill you didn't see because Oscar didn't make the pass, right? He just kind of went and he's like, oh, fuck. He had a look and Lando had the car positioned perfectly.
Yes.
So I think the Delulu fans on both sides can take
positives
from today.
Definitely,
for sure.
Definitely.
For sure. But so that was thrilling in the beginning, and then kind of at the end, it was nice to see him reel him in a little bit, but ultimately fail.
I gotta, you know what? These back markers, at a certain point, these back markers gotta go. I think with 10 laps left.
Yeah.
We've said it before, it's if you get lapped, you're out. That where you are is where you're done. And I think that's maybe a little bit too aggressive. But the fact that Colapinto almost ran Oscar off track. The fact that even when Colapinto, when Lando's like blue flagging Colapinto and he's like, well, actually, I'm going to dive into the pits and actually like block you, Lando loses a second there.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the race, when like
The
Oscar's
Saubers are
finally
fucking
making a push and he's like double lapping Yuki and like double lap. It's just like there was no shot for Oscar to actually, close that gap and potentially have a photo finish. Because we had back markers. And I feel like, I don't know, like 5 laps to go, 10 laps to go, it's like with a certain race trim, once it's like you've hit a certain race point where you get like full points or whatever it is, and you're lapped, like, I don't know, get the fuck out of the way. Like your race is done.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we didn't get to see them really go for that win, go for that like final battle. We didn't get to see Oscar do it because like on literally lap 70, they're having to clear 3 cars.
Yeah. Unacceptable. I think it was especially bad on this track because it's so short.
Right. It's short and high speed, and their deg was high, so like there's going to be big gaps there. But that's why it's like, yeah, if you get lap 20, sure, whatever. But like after a certain point, I just feel like these cars should get the fuck out of the way.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, so that was a positive from this race. Another positive, if you're a Carlos Sainz hater.
Yeah.
And a James.
Do you know any?
People run into me and they're like, "Be nicer to Carlos Sainz." Like that's like my thing, I guess.
Yes.
I'm also a James Vowles denier.
Right.
I deny James Vowles. I don't buy into the hype. It was looking pretty bad for me last couple races, but honestly, they suck. They suck. Their cars are unreliable. I guess they can't tune their engine properly because it's mainly those engines that are blowing up.
Right.
The Mercedes once or twice, but the McLarens, knock wood, we don't want either of those. We don't want either of those McLaren engines to blow up. But the McLarens have been fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that, and all the James Vowles believers, believers, with the V, believers, that doesn't fucking work. They're going to say, well, they're focused on 2026. That's a classic excuse for sucking right now. Okay. That's no excuse for the car like falling apart. Operationally.
This is within what happened today seemingly was very in their control.
Yes.
Whether their like aero packages are like, kicking ass right now, that's a different thing because maybe they're just like putting that effort in the other direction. But like, yeah, Carlos getting like stuck in one, then like the brakes catching on fire. Albon getting up to P7 looking like, oh my God, he's
what happened to his car? I just know it.
I don't even know.
Jenny, can you text what happened to his car?
What did happen to Alex Albon's car? Yeah, so we're doing this instantly afterwards, so we don't have an official thing yet, but it's looking like it might be another PU failure. It's what happened in Canada, so this is now maybe 2 races in a row. Where the Williams, I was getting off the Vowles hater train. And I don't know. Am I getting back on? I'm not sure. I don't know, dude. I'm still feeling like next year. They're gonna be good. But now there's all this competition. Now like Steak, Steak's looking like the new fucking sexy kids on the block.
Yep.
Bortoletto getting into his first Q3, having a great showing today, getting P8, fighting with Alonso. Hulkenberg, even like. Did he get points?
He got P9.
Yeah.
He made up 11 places.
Double points for Steak today. I mean, Hulkenberg, they seem to be solid. Liam Lawson having a good weekend. The only rookie that seems to have had a pretty shitty weekend is, the golden child.
Colapinto?
No. Kimi Antoinette.
Oh, gee, I forgot he was out so early.
Let's discuss that.
Yeah.
I mean,
just absolutely speared Verstappen. They said it was Russell, and I was like, yes. Yes. And they said Antonelli, and I was very disappointed. Yeah. Because that was bad for business. It was Kimi Antonelli.
I mean, I think that we've discussed the fact that he's young. Let's not get too on the hype train of Kimi Antonelli. And this was like I think Julian Palmer said, he was like, this was a rookie mistake. He came in hot. locked up his tires. Like, at that point, he was just a passenger. Like, he almost ran into the back of one of the V-carbs and instead speared Verstappen, took him out of the race. I thought Verstappen's reaction to it was very telling about what he thinks about this season in general.
Well, I think it's also, if it was George Russell, I think he would have reacted differently. I think Antonelli, he's like, well, what? Yeah,
yeah, he's like, what am I? Well, you know,
he's a fucking. He doesn't know what he's doing out there.
Yeah, but
they might be teammates.
He's like, that's my future teammate. So I want to keep the vibes high, and I want to show Toto what a good gregarious guy I am.
But on the radio, he goes, "I got hit, crazy fucking idiots."
Yes.
What is this, amateur hour? But I mean, he's back there in amateur hour is what he is.
Yeah, but like, I still think that like his reaction to that whole thing today, like him immediately kind of just being like, yeah. Then after the race, he's like, it happens and whatever, it's fine. Like, he just knows he's out. He knows he's not going to win a championship this year, so he doesn't care that much. Like, if the top thing, even he said it after qualifying, because people were like, oh, like it was actually the yellow, because we posted the thing about Liam Lawson, out qualifying Max, and everyone was like, yeah, but it was the yellow, which it was. But even in Max's words, he was like, yeah, there was a yellow, and I had to abort my lap, but like I wasn't gonna get pole anywhere. So literally, who gives a shit?
Right.
Like, that's all he cares about. He cares about winning and nothing else.
Yeah.
So if he can't like win races or be in the championship, which I think he realizes that is not going to happen, then he doesn't care. So he can be like, nice to Kimi Antonelli after he like completely destroys his race.
I think there's a difference between like if I push you versus if I push you onto the ground versus I trip and fall and knock you over.
Sure.
You'll be annoyed with me if I knock you over, but I think he gets more mad if somebody like sends it on him and is a little too aggressive. That's more asinine than this guy just like lost control of the car and speared him.
Yeah. Vankers, this episode is brought to you by BetMGM. Come see what's new at BetMGM. Score bigger when you win with boost tokens, odd boost tokens, and more. Even if your bet doesn't hit, we've got you covered with no sweat tokens. Sign up with BetMGM today and you'll have access to countless betting options, including new look, same game parlays, teasers, live bets, and so much more. Take advantage of these offerings and be sure to use the bonus code DADDY when signing up to receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet loses. This is an exciting season. Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, who's going to finish? Who's going to win each race? Where's Yuki Tsunoda going to wind up? You can bet on all this with BetMGM, so do it today. Use the bonus code DADDY when signing up, and again, receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet loses. See you out there, Vegas.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 for New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 for Massachusetts. 21 and over only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP for Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF for Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 for Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Now, what's interesting is we got this weird thing going on where it's like Love Island and Toto is just refusing to couple up.
Yes.
He won't be closed off. But he's got two girlfriends right now.
He's in a love triangle.
He's in a love triangle. He's in a love quadrangle because he's got the bombshell of Max Verstappen.
Right.
But who's he going to choose?
And he's currently coupled up with George Russell.
And Kimi.
And Kimi, but like, it's like.
But who's going to be the bottom?
But there's a recoupling
yes,
coming up.
Yes.
And he's been talking to a girl in another couple, aka Max Verstappen,
yes,
who's coupled up with Red Bull.
Yes.
And it's whether he is going to make a decision to stick with what he's got or move on to the next. And like George Russell's like waking up in the mornings, he's making him pancakes, he's making him tea, he's making him breakfast, he's showing his effort.
Kimmy's sleeping in.
Kimmy's sleeping in, literally just like punching, like he's in the gym and he accidentally like swings a barbell and hits the other girl in the Max Verstappen in the face, and Toto's like, yeah, it's fine, Kimi, I love you, baby, I love you.
I remember my first date when I was in 7th grade. My first date, 8th grade, was with Jessie. And I took her to a pizzeria.
Okay.
Oh no, I was in the movie theater. We went to the movies, and like I think I I was nervous, obviously.
Right.
This was my first date. I bought my 1 liter of Coca-Cola. I got like the biggest jug, and I went to like put it in the cup holder, missed, and just covered her in 1 liter of Coca-Cola. That's Kimi right now. He's nervous. He's excited. He's like, oh my God, I might get to second base at this movie theater, and then just covers the.
But Toto's so enamored. He's like,
he's so charming.
It's so
endearing.
cute, Kimi. It's so cute when you spill your Coke all over me, Kimi.
And credit to Jessie, she's like, totally fine. We're good. We're gonna keep this thing going. I'm not gonna let freezing cold. Like she was Toto in this situation, because she was like wanting to make it work with me.
And she saw your potential. She said,
"Sure."
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the people who see the beauty that. There's certain people that like recognize that you were, going to blossom.
Yes. Even though it might have been years later and she wasn't going to stick around.
And it's still debatable, and that's the position that Toto's in. Toto is so convinced that Kimi is going to be like ultimate, like number 1 bombshell. And he's like, I'm sticking with him. And yeah, he's playing off these two guys. He's and one is there every morning making him pancakes and taking him on dates, and bringing him to the dock and doing all this stuff.
And Kimmy's just chilling in the pool.
But more than that, it's like and Max is just kind of like, oh, you want to? Oh, I'll think about it. I'll think about coupling up with you. Because that's what's really happening. It's like Toto's made the decision. He wants Kimi. And we'll think about George.
I don't know if Kimi keeps. Here's the only thing that's against George, other than he's just second middle child status. The problem with George is that I think he's got such a contentious relationship with Max at this point,
right?
That even if he wanted to keep George, he really couldn't.
With Max.
With Max,
no, yeah, impossible.
You're not going to get the Lando Oscar situation,
no,
where they're going to play nicely and whoever's the faster driver will win. It's just going to be so toxic,
right?
And Max, Max is not going to help that situation either. That from a personality standpoint, it's just not going to work,
right?
I think it's interesting. Toto Wolff came out and he said, Daddy Muhammad was so pissed because Toto Wolff came out and he said the media is just putting too much pressure on Kimi, putting too much pressure on Kimi. And Daddy Muhammad was like, you put the pressure on Kimi.
Right.
You had him skip F3
into
F2, put him straight in F1, made a movie about him, a Netflix documentary about him before he set foot in the F1 grid. Like, you are the one that anointed him Italian Jesus.
Right, and put him on a top team.
Yes.
Didn't put him on a Williams. Didn't put him on a team where he could just kind of like get his, reps in.
Make these fuck ups on in blast.
Right.
In P17.
Look at Gabriel Bortoleto. He gets P8 today.
And he looks like a hero. And he hasn't had a particularly good season, but he's in a shitty car, so that the expectations are low. Yeah.
So when he has a great race, everyone's like, look at this. Well, you're a hero, blah, blah, blah. Kimi is in not a championship winning car, but a race winning car.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, 100%.
He got pole in Miami.
Toto's put the pressure on him.
He got pole in Miami. Didn't he get pole in Miami?
Yeah, he got pole in the
In
sprint,
the
and
sprint.
then he got the podium in Canada.
Yeah. But
so he's definitely had his moments, but he's still he's 18.
Yeah. But in terms of like who deserves to stay, it's George right now.
It's George.
But but Kimi's got that potential.
If George fucking gets booted and Kimi stays, I don't know. I'm gonna be furious.
Well, he's gonna go to like Red Bull.
Seemingly, yeah.
That's where he'd go.
But next year they're gonna have a championship-winning car, probably. So
that's
George,
a perfect arc for him to just miss it on both sides.
I know.
To get there too late and then leave too early.
But week by week, George is becoming one of my favorite drivers. Like I love George.
Oh, when he was like, make sure the mechanics have water.
Yeah.
He's like trying so hard to be a team leader. Please.
Really?
Yeah.
It's absolutely scorching out here. Make sure that they're hydrated. We wouldn't want that to
George Zoran Mandani, like just looking out for everybody.
And free buses as well.
I think they should all get pay raises.
Yes.
And their rent should be their rent should be made illegal.
That's right.
Stay frozen.
I'm going to make sure that they raise the minimum wage on our mechanics.
Yes.
I am perfect. I am George Russell.
I'm George Russell. I'm running for WDC 2026. It really is political.
I'm running for the second seat, the Mercedes-Benz AMG Petronas second seat.
Yes.
Please vote for me.
Yes.
I'm a perfect young man.
Yes.
But he's just like, I don't know, like it's
that was political.
It's the things like that combined with like that he's the only person that will stand up to Max Verstappen, combined with the great season that he's had. I don't know. I'm just like, I think that he's a top guy.
There's no question whether he's a top guy, but the problem is he's not. Nobody's Max Verstappen.
Right. Well, yeah, nobody's Max Verstappen, sure, but to me,
you'd fire Kimi, or you'd put him, you'd park him somewhere else.
I mean, it's hard. It's like it's the.
But then you get George and Max, and then you're like, that's a nightmare. That's the problem. At least Kimi, you're like, Kimi might.
Yeah, so maybe George has made his bed with like the guy who I hate, who I have like no possibility of a working relationship, is the one who's being courted here. So like I've made my bed that like I can't be here if Max is here.
Yes.
So that might be a flaw of George's. A strategic error. That if he was able to maybe work with Max, maybe they would put Kimi in one of the like sister Mercedes teams.
Yes.
Take a little bit of the pressure off of him. And then bring him back in a couple years.
Yes.
When he's ready for it. But I don't think it doesn't feel like he's ready for it. I mean, even let
him fuck up in the Alpine.
Look at Oscar, right? Oscar, super highly touted prospect, comes in rookie season with McLaren.
Yeah.
But like
after taking a year off.
But like we've seen now what 3 years has done for Oscar. But like his rookie year, I don't know, like
he had flashes. He had flashes but he didn't make as many mistakes as Kimi.
That's what I'm saying.
But he was older. But it's not our fault that they fucking promoted him when he was 18.
Right.
Like that's their fault that they exposed him at this young an age. Like he could be an F2 right now.
Right.
He could be, he could be an F2.
He could have done F3 last year and then been an F2 this year and then come in, next year with these new engine regs and, been like, this is the start of this next set, been on a team that has a little bit less pressure. I just think, I don't know, it just feels like there is, I know that they've like taken a lot of care of him, but I think that putting him in this position,
especially when you're courting Max Verstappen,
was careless.
Yeah. Yeah.
For all the talk about how they care for him and how they like, they nurture him X, Y, and Z, it's like, no, you put him in the position to be on a top team. You put him in the position to like have all this attention.
You don't have a junior team.
You put him in the position to skip one of the early junior, like skip F3, put him straight into F2 and then into the car. Like, and yeah, he's fucking locking up on turn one and torpedoing other drivers.
Yeah, and that's something you do in a V carb. That's something you do in a Williams.
Right.
That's not necessarily something you do. I mean, even Max Verstappen, they put him in the Toro Rosso. Right. They let him, like, at least he got to fuck up and make his mistakes like way back in the midfield. So it was kind of a different situation.
Yeah, but that was definitely a wild, beginning of the race with that happening. We got the safety car right in the beginning. That
it's the second time he's done that. He fucked Bortoletto up in Monaco. Mm-hmm. He comes in a little hot in those first.
He gets excited.
And he spills the liter cola.
Exactly. What else happened in this race?
Well, speaking of Oscar's rookie year and his campaign, we got to talk about how Alpine came back to play.
Yes.
Alpine came twice.
Yeah, so he had when Gasly spins, he can't get his flying lap in.
That's right.
Second flying lap in Q3. He says, "Fuck me, man, Jesus Christ."
Yes,
which is crazy for Oscar Piastri to say.
Yeah,
and then this wasn't on the broadcast, but after this whole, it's like again the back markers. He's going in. And our boy Yuki Tsunoda is fighting with Franco Colapinto for like the fifth time.
But they're not even fighting because he's already got a 10-second.
Right.
It's like it's the most. It's worse than for nothing because he's all like not only is that place worth no points, but he's also got a 10-second penalty.
Right.
So like it's completely meaningless.
Yes. And I mean, then all of a sudden Colapinto is pushing Oscar Piastri off track. And what he said, reportedly, what he said on the radio after that happened was, quote, Alpine still managed to find a way to fuck me after all these years later, huh?
Wow.
He's getting spicy on the radio.
Yeah. That's a lot. That is a diatribe from him.
For Oscar Piastri to have 2 swearing instances on the radio this weekend,
it's crazy.
He's jacked up. I wonder what Nicole's thinking right now. He's like, oh my God, he's swearing in public? This is crazy.
Yeah. It's
no, he's in the fight. He's like, I think he's really feeling it. I think that like this season, the opportunity that he has, the battle that's like in front of him is getting him jacked up.
But I don't think he's on tilt. Not yet. I don't think it's like in the F1 movie. Oh, he's driving angry.
Yeah.
Don't want him driving angry.
Though I felt like I was kind of like, I knew he was angry, and that first overtake wasn't necessarily him driving angry, but it was him like, I'm going for this thing.
And they locked up the one time. And they were like, Oscar, be careful. And it's just like, are we racing? What is it? We're not here to fuck spiders.
Yeah.
As they say, and as Nicole's people will say, and Oscar's people say, right?
Well, yeah, there was all this discussion about like, what are the papaya rules rear their heads again, that like, there's credit to McLaren because they're letting the boys race.
Of course.
But then they're like, well, actually not like that.
That was over the line.
That was actually a little bit over the line. It was a little bit too close. It's just like, just let them fully race. You guys have both championships in the bag.
They said something to him originally. They're like, Oscar, it's up to you. Whatever you. Basically, they gave him They gave him free reign.
They gave both of them carte blanche. It feels like what's cool that's happening with McLaren is that like both sides of the garage are like really just trying to get one over on the other.
Yeah.
When they were like, make sure you hit that apex in turn 6 because it'll like fuck up the car behind.
They said the other car.
The other car. It's like, oh, what other car is that?
Yeah. We don't
Lando's
even
race
know.
engineer.
We don't even know.
Which other car of which you speak?
Yeah.
So it feels like the McLaren, that they're like letting them race. That the sides of the garage are even like kind of like I'm sure that they're starting to not really discuss what the strategy is. They're not fully discussing like what their setups are. I'm thinking we're probably heading into that territory where like it's going to be a war within that garage. Now I understand like on some level why they want to like keep the peace. But it's just like, you have both championships in the bag. Just let them fucking crash if they want to crash.
Yeah, I agree. But, if I guess maybe it's damage, they're going to fuck their budget up. And maybe they don't believe that they're going to win the constructors.
Right. Well, they are. There's like a level of like conservatism that they have, that they're kind of like.
If they only got Ferrari to worry about.
Well, in terms of, they have the constructors in the bag.
So then it doesn't matter.
Right, because what they've said is all they care about is the constructors. If one of these guys wants to fuck up their own drivers' championship, then they can do that.
Yeah.
But you have the constructors in the bag.
Even if they punt each other off once or twice. Even if they both DNF once or twice.
They could DNF like half of the remaining races, and they'll probably still win the constructors.
Yeah.
So, like, if they want to, fuck up each other's drivers' championship, then let them.
Well, or at least just let them just fuck around until X race and then shut it down.
Yeah. Or you do what Toto did, which is like, you're going to start paying for the damages. If you guys crash into each other, this is what happened in 2016. After Spain, Toto went to Nico and he went to Lewis and he said, okay, you crashed into each other. Now,
I don't care whose fault it is.
I don't care whose fault it is. You pay for the damages when you guys crash.
I don't like that. That's advantage Oscar. Lando. Lando has more money.
He has more what? Family money?
Or more family money, and he's been in the sport longer. He's got more money of his own. But I think Oscar doesn't care about material wealth.
Right.
I mean, he dresses like he doesn't look like he's flashy. Right. Doesn't look like he spends much.
Right.
So it kind of cancels each other out.
And you could probably
he's like, what the fuck? I don't need money. What do I need money for?
You could have probably said the same thing about Nico Rosberg or Lewis Hamilton. Like, Lewis Hamilton had more money. Lewis Hamilton was like the bigger star.
But Nico came from wealth and was pretty wealthy and had a lucrative contract.
But they both have lucrative. They're both making like 21 mil a fucking year. They're making the same money from the team. Maybe they don't pay for everything, but like you give some type of financial, like, okay, you guys, like, now we don't crash into each other. Like, this is what the consequence, and they can now make that decision. But for them to also just like come on the radio and they were like, at turn 4 was like a little bit marginal. I was like, just shut up. Because what the deal with McLaren right now is that like they want,
you know what they are? They're like,
yeah,
it's like it's giving like we're cool girls.
Yes,
we're cool girls.
Yes,
it's very pick me. But then when push comes to shove, like I don't care if you have female friends. Go have lunch with your very attractive friend, Brian.
Right.
I don't care. I'm a cool girl.
Yeah.
You know, and then you do it, and they're like, "Wait, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
That's what it's giving.
It's like
they want,
and then where'd you guys go to lunch? Oh, we went to this Italian place. Italian?
Yeah.
You went to an Italian place.
Why don't you just have a fucking candle at dinner while you're at it? That's like, what it's giving.
You said it was cool. You said You said that I could go to lunch. You said that we could race.
Yes.
Andrea. And now we're racing, and you're like, it's a bit marginal. Actually, guys.
I said you could get to lunch, not have a romantic Italian evening.
Yeah, I said you could race, not like race close to each other. Not like do a lunge. It's just like shut up and let the fucking boys race.
Yes.
Honestly, like if Oscar had done that lunge and he was in the wrong and he took himself out or took both of them out,
yes,
it would just be like Oscar would have to throw his hands up, say like, I messed that up.
Just like Lando did.
And Lando crashed into Oscar in Canada. He threw his hands up, and it was like all hunky-dory.
And they didn't wag their finger at Lando.
Right.
Well, not publicly.
Yeah,
they publicly wagged. They publicly wagged at Oscar, being like, "Don't you dare!" Hey, nope.
Vankas, when I started this podcast, I thought I was going to have to do it all on my own. Now, luckily, I had Matt and Jenny, but we needed a little bit more help, and that's where Shopify came into play. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the United States, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. Not like us anymore because we're established. We love Shopify here at the Red Flags, our merch store, which sells our perfect merch, including this perfect t-shirt we should buy right now at theredflagspod.com. Guess what? That website and that store is run through Shopify, and you can turn your business idea into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/redflags. Go to shopify.com/redflags. Once again, shopify.com/redflags and get started today. I just feel like Andrea is an Oscar guy.
Why is that?
Just the way that he was like smiling at Lando today on the podium. He was just like,
so it's bad acting.
Bad acting. But when he smiles at Oscar, it's like, that's a man in love. He's just like, the way he smiles at Oscar feels like it's very different from the way that he smiles at Lando.
Well, think about it. Who do you think he relates to more? I mean, if you talk to Andrea, if you hear Andrea, I've never spoken to him.
Yes.
If you hear Andrea speak, he seems like a very cold, clinical engineer type.
Right.
And Lando's all fluff and feelings and butterflies and rainbows, and Oscar's just a cool, calculated killer.
Right.
And you know that's the guy that he's backing.
Right. Yeah, so it just feels like, it's just like there's the like, which is where it was kind of surprising.
Very political.
It's very political because I think, Zach.
Obviously backs Lando.
Lando guy. Andrea. Oscar guy. That's where it was a little bit kind of surprising. I feel like sometimes they maybe have to overcorrect with even Oscar even more so, where they're just like, it was marginal. That was a little bit much, because he like has to like make sure that he's playing it even.
Yeah, and I think Oscar's probably just easier to deal with.
Yes.
Less
of a headache.
It's like he's like a cat. Lando's a puppy dog.
Yeah.
You need to pet it and stroke it.
Yes.
It's not in terms of like which one is better. It's just which one is just easier to take care of.
Right. Well, and some people are dog guys and some people are cat guys.
Andrea's a cat person.
Andrea Stella's big cat guy.
And Zach, huge dog guy.
Big dog guy.
Big dog guy.
Oh my! You mean Zach?
Big dog guy. Loves the slobbery, desperate energy of a dog. Because a dog, you'll love a dog. You have to love a dog all the time, but a dog loves you back.
Right.
Whereas a cat, you don't have to love a cat that much,
yes,
but they don't necessarily love you that much.
Right.
Back. So it's like there's a higher floor, lower ceiling with a cat.
And you need to like earn a cat's like trust. You need a cat to like kind of you gotta play on the cat's terms.
Yes.
Where a dog is just like the dog comes to you.
And a dog is a whore. A dog will love anybody. Yeah. Like it's so funny when I visited my friend yesterday. I visited my friend the other day.
Yeah.
And like he was like, "Hey, Lucky," and like Lucky didn't care that he was home because Lucky's just
saying like, whatever.
And I was like, "Oh, I guess Lucky's lost a step." And then he heard a new person. She heard a new person, and she's like, "Who's this new guy?"
Oh, Lucky's dog.
Lucky's dog. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, oh, new attention.
Let's be real. Like that's was we talked at the very beginning about how these guys are diametrically opposed.
Yes.
Cats and dogs.
Cats and dogs.
I mean, they're cats and dogs. Oscar's such a cat.
Yes.
Lando is such a dog.
Dogs will starve in the apartment with you.
Cats will eat you.
Cats will eat your face off
within
3 seconds.
If you die, this is what they say.
This is what they say.
is that cats will eat your decaying body.
Yeah. And I'm like, how have they tested that? I'm like, well, they probably just found dead people with half-eaten faces, and the cats are just like, need to go to fat camp because they're just so... I just saw a clip of a cat that was like, they sent the cat to fat camp and it got stuck in a shoe rack because it was trying to escape exercise. It's an amazing image.
Yeah, meanwhile, dogs like kind of just like love to be on a treadmill. Like the biggest thing that... people fuck up with their dogs. They don't exercise them enough. Dogs just want to just be like, chasing the thing. Whereas, like, honestly, it feels like every time that Oscar like has to like do these races where he's just like he has to chase, he's like, fuck, all right, fuck, I'll do it.
Yeah, and he's the type of cat that'll like kill something and then just leave it there for you. Like, yeah, bitch, look what I did.
Yeah.
That's his love language. Killing things and leaving them for you.
That's what it felt like today. Was just like he was just the cat slowly just kind of like
stalking.
And meanwhile, like Lando's just like
running into his tail's whacking. His tail was loose, just fucking
running himself off track, just kind of like all over the place. Yeah, no, we're finally getting to the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the rest of this year, we're heading into, I think, the era, like these tracks are going to be McLaren tracks, like going forward. I think like they've done better on the purpose built. Like these are the like it's going to be hot all summer, so DEG is going to be a bigger thing. I think this Mercedes cool weather advantage might go away. Apparently, it's not going to be super hot in Silverstone this year. We'll see what that is, but I think that like we're now entering really where the McLarens will be in their sweet spot.
We bought nice raincoats, so definitely not going to rain. I haven't used this raincoat fucking once that I bought I bought a raincoat for Canada.
Yep.
And then it didn't fucking rain.
Yeah, and we're bringing it to Silverstone, and it's not going to rain.
Maybe we should leave it.
I'm bringing it.
You're bringing it.
I'm bringing it. Rained last year. Hopefully it rains again this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're finally. I just hope that this is the sign of more to come.
Yes.
I mean, now Lando's down. It's 15 points. We got 15 points between them.
That's one Franco Colapinto hitting Oscar Piastri away from just turning this thing all around.
Yeah. Wild. There was a I think I caught this in the cool down room. There was one moment. They did a classic thing. It's like this broadcast is such a mess. It's always such a mess. At one point, like, they cut away to, I don't know, fucking Gabriel Bortoleto or like Ollie Behrman passing Hulkenberg for fucking nothing.
Yeah, it's like, what? This isn't 2022. Like, there's things actually happening in front.
We have things happening at the front. Just keep it on them. At one point, they do that, and it was right when Lando went off. And it was right when Oscar closed the gap.
Yeah, they missed
cut back, and Oscar's overtaking him. And I'm like, it would have been great to fucking have a little bit of time to see what's happening.
Okay,
there.
guys who produce this show, guys who produce F1.
Or people. Girls,
guys
too.
And gals.
Maybe these girls are fucking this thing.
Maybe it's like the F1 movie, and the female is just fucking dropping shit and cutting away, and then the people are like, "Of course it's you."
Yeah.
It's a direct line from F1 movie.
Crazy.
And then, so watch adolescence, okay? It's okay to have one shot. Just keep it a oneer. Just keep it on those McLaren boys. I know you're tempted to cut because you got all these buttons, you got all these cameras on all these different cars. Don't do it.
Or if you're going to do it, put it in the little box in the fucking corner.
Yes.
But we need to have eyes on the McLaren boys in a race like today.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
It's the only thing that matters.
Yes. Nobody cares about the Sauber. It is cool that the Sauber is doing better, and they have better pit stops, and they have better pit stops than McLaren.
Oh my God, McLaren fucking have both pit stops.
Yeah,
crazy. That front left,
those front left guys, that's crazy. But at least they were fair.
Yes.
At least they were. Maybe they like
fucked up Lando's, and then they're like, "We're gonna fuck up Oscar's worth."
Yes, to keep it fair.
And then they do a good Lando in the second pit stop, and then they do a better Oscar. So I think like it was 3.1 for Lando, then 3.4 for Oscar, then it was 2.5 for Lando, and then 2 seconds flat for Oscar. So it was like ultimately, actually, Oscar had quicker pit stops anyway. But no, so that it's like that happened, but then they cut to the cool down room, and they're just like, and there's Oscar Piastri alone. Maybe someone will be joining him in a second.
I didn't see the cool down room. I got on the subway.
All right, so
because Brian was like, "It's Pride. You need to get here because it's gonna be because I live in the village,
bro. I live in the village.
You're in the prostate.
And you were getting up in there.
Yeah.
And anyway, so they cut to the cool down room, and Oscar's sitting there alone. Yeah. And then they're just kind of like, well, there is Oscar Piastri alone. And then, like, he's watching the highlights alone. And then, like, Alex Jace is, like, talking about the highlights. He's like, oh, and there's the crash, actually, because he's just trying to fill space. And then Lando and Charles get there, and they're literally there for, like, 30 seconds before they cut away because they have, like, the allotted time for the cool. It's like, this is all people want to see. Is the cool down room.
Yes.
And get a better mic in there. But it was just a mess.
It's just room tone.
Yeah. It's just a mess.
Fucking Jenny can get rid of room tone.
Yes.
And Jenny, no shade on Jenny, but Jenny doesn't fancy herself an audio engineer.
Right.
And she can do it.
Right.
You mean to tell me that these professional men or women can't figure this out? Get rid of the room tone.
Put some directional mics in that bitch.
Yes.
And have the directional mics be pointed at the seats.
Sound like Jenny's Yeti.
Yeah.
Remember Jenny's Yeti that picked up everything?
The Yeti sucks. If you ever see someone podcasting or whatever with a Yeti, just know that they have believed the propaganda.
Yeah, it's amateur.
It's propaganda.
Yeah.
But there was one moment in the cool down room which was great, which I think this is what was being said. I think what was being said is Oscar Charles was talking about the moment where Oscar like went in on Lando and locked up his tires, and I think Charles said something to the effect of like, he was like, oh, I saw that, and I was like, oh. I think what he was saying was like, I was hoping you guys were going to take each other out, and I was going to have a win today.
Yes.
But unfortunately, you didn't.
Unfortunately, you didn't take
this
each other
is bullshit.
Out. Yes.
And now I'm forced to get a third
Charles
place.
will never get that lucky. Come on. He knows the how. You can't be that hot.
Drive for Ferrari.
Drive that talented.
Yeah.
Can play the piano and like things fall in your lap like that.
There was also an iconic moment at the end. It was very poetic. There was this moment they after the race, because the Ferraris third and fourth. They brought upgrades, had a better weekend than they have been having. They were the second fastest car, both in quali and on track today. But Lewis was obviously behind Charles all day, still not be able to be on pace with him. And there was just this moment after the race, and Lewis is like in full helmet, like arms crossed, and he's looking at like the board with all the timings. And he was just looking at it, and he was just like, fuck.
Like he thinks he could have done a one stop. He wanted to do the one stop.
Or he was just like, why can't I beat my teammate? Like, why? It was like him looking, like he was looking for answers outside of himself and wrestling with, are the answers just inside? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, that's what I'm projecting.
Well, I was frustrated. He was frustrated. He wanted to do a one stop.
He did want to do one stop. He was yelling with them about the one stop.
And then he went back and forth. They're like, no, you bring it, because I think they were nervous because he went off.
Yes.
But he's like, no, I'm the tire whisperer.
Right.
Now in a difficult situation because he's doing the George Russell. He's trying to do the weird strategy to get ahead of his teammate who out-qualifies him. Right.
Well, most people did the two-stop today. The only two people that did the one-stop, and it did work for them, was Alonso and Liam Lawson did the one-stop. Yeah. And it did work. And I think, they were saying it was kind of like...
And Hulkenberg started,
Yeah, Hulkenberg came in early.
He did
soft, medium.
Yeah.
He came in, he started on the soft.
Made up 11 fucking places.
He's
crazy. He's amazing.
But yeah, it was a powerful image of just like Lewis looking at this screen looking for answers when it was just like, are the answers that, you're pushing 40 and your teammate is like one of the top young prospects in this game.
Not to pour more gasoline on the discord within Ferrari, but there's that great moment. There was the pit OK button is the confirm button, Brad, with
Brian.
With Brian.
Yes.
He said his name. He's like, we're gonna need Lyco, turn 4, like lift and coast, I guess, turn 4, turn 5. And he goes, I'm already doing that, Brian.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing, Brian. Like when you, because as a screenwriter, it's like a lot of times you see in a movie, they'll say the character's name.
Yes.
And I'm like, you almost never, when you're talking to somebody, you almost never say their name.
Right.
Unless you're like angry at them, you want their attention.
Right.
They're not really listening. So to use his name.
Yes.
Doing that, Brian.
Yeah.
It's just like there's so much stank.
Yeah.
When you use someone's name like that.
Yeah, he was hitting the name hard.
He was hitting the name.
And I was like, my name's Brian. Don't be mad at me.
Yeah.
I took that personally.
Yes.
It's hard not to feel that in my soul. All right, let's go into our awards for the Austrian GP. Let's start with hottest moment of the day.
Got to be Alonso's ass, no?
Yeah, Alonso's singed ass.
Another hottest moment of the day is honorable mention. It didn't happen today.
Yes.
It happened yesterday. The cameraman keeps doing the office shot with Leclerc, like finding him and just getting him awkwardly, and he just keeps like
looking at the camera.
But he's just like, now he's aware of it. He's like, hi, can I help you?
Is that hottest moment of the day, or is that more like red flag?
No, I mean, I love it. What do you think the hottest moment? What are the people saying?
I think people are saying, let's see, Carlos's brakes, LOL, completely going on. I
mean, he was the center of attention. All they talked about in qualifying was that something got to be up with the car. I mean, he's out in Q1 again. I mean, it's got to be the car. Let's look at 20 different angles of Carlos Sainz's car sucking. And then he stopped on the grid, and I was like, oh, he's pulling a Sonny Hayes.
Yeah.
He's pulling a Sonny Hayes. He's trying to get his tires on. His car wouldn't start. It wasn't a bit.
Right.
And then they had to push his ass. And it started flaming. And then they were like, and then looked like they were trying to keep him in the car.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is over. Can anybody else see that this is over?
Yeah. Yeah, they come over and
they're doing mouth to mouth on a a dead white,
and they're all like inhaling the smoke.
Yeah,
like this is that can't be good.
This is over. I'm like, why don't they have gear? It's just like one guy's got his Oakleys on. Like that's it.
Yeah, it's like when you ever see someone like sanding, they've got that
they get them respirators,
get them something.
Yeah.
No, I think the hottest moment of the day was the Lando Oscar battle, first 20 laps.
Yeah, that was hot as well.
Oscar's overtake on Lando, Lando's overtake on Oscar. We finally got to see. We've been saying it all year. Like at some point, these boys are going to have to race each other. And for a while, Max Verstappen was getting in the way of that. Max Verstappen and George Russell were getting in the way of that. And now, hopefully, this is a sign of more to come. That these two boys will be out in front, next to each other in their DRS for the remainder of the year, and we can get that going. Daddy of the day. I'm going to give it to Fernando Alonso. Defending against the kid that he manages. Yeah. Bortoleto after the race said something to the effect of he was like, I got there and I thought, Fernando won't make it like that hard on me. Yeah. He said, and he was racing me like he was going for a world championship.
Yeah.
He was like, no, my boy. I will teach you.
Yeah.
I will teach you the ways.
Yes.
And then after the race, they were like hugging. It was like a nice vibe. And that Daddy Alonso would look at a kid like Gabriel Bortoleto and put his faith into him. think he's been so far. He hasn't been the story in terms of these rookies. Obviously Hadjar's come in great, but then even this race, Lawson finally kind of maybe finding his form. Attention's been on Kimi. There's been attention on Behrman at certain points. Behrman, I said that. But now maybe there's this Bortoleto 1 F3 first year, 1 F2 in his first attempt. He's got some stuff.
Behrman's shown flashes. Hadjar's been the most consistently good.
Kimi's had his moments as well.
Kimi had his moments,
but this is the first time where Bortoleto's really had a moment.
Yes.
And the car's been shit, and now the car's starting to be a thing. And for him, even though Hülkenberg had this great showing today where he was able to gain a bunch of places, the fact that he got into Q3 when Hülkenberg started in 20th, that he out-qualified, Hülkenberg's out in Q1 and he gets into Q3, and he's able to hold on to that lead. He's able to hold on to 8th place and get there. Impressive drive from Bortoleto, and I credit his daddy, Fernando Alonso.
You know who also daddied him a little bit this weekend?
Who?
Max Verstappen. Bortoleto was talking about this. He gave Bortoleto a toe. And Bortoleto was like, I love Max. He's always giving me toes. Max is a genius because I think they have a Brazilian connection through the PKs.
Right.
Because Bortoleto's from a racing family like the PKs are.
Yes.
And I think Max has done this before where he's like, I'll give toes to people I don't give a fuck about who I'm not competing with.
Yeah.
He give and then they're going to give toes to him. So he's thinking smart. Like he would never give a toe to Lando or Oscar or George Russell, but he would definitely give a toe. And then remember, I think was it Suzuka? I don't remember where it was.
Genius.
Because Hülkenberg gave him a toe. So he's like going down on midfield teams, and then later they go down on him. Right. Because he thinks he's smarter than he looks.
Yes.
Yeah,
no, he's working angles that no one else.
Yeah.
He's working angles that no one
giving
else.
Giving toes to random people. Giving HJs to just random people.
Though I feel like it's not with Bortoleto. It also feels like he's it feels like Alonso, Max. There's familia there.
Yes.
He's kind of like, I'll help your guy.
Yeah.
I'll help your young guy.
Yeah.
I don't know how much love there is with other, it within the Slytherins. It's like Slytherins help Slytherins a little bit.
Yes.
So I feel like that was maybe in play with that today. But no, that's a genius Machiavellian moves from Max Verstappen. Radio of the day.
I mean, we didn't get it on the broadcast, but Oscar saying Alpine fucked him.
So funny. Like the bad blood between them, it must be so real.
I mean, they went to court.
They went to full court, but
to try to keep him from leaving.
Yes,
even though they didn't want him,
right? And
they were dicking him around, and they wouldn't couple up with him. Another Love Island reference.
Yeah,
Oscar was ready to commit, and they didn't couple up with him. And Zach Brown enters the villa,
all right,
and he's like, "Oh, baby,"
yeah.
And then he jumps, and they're like, "Wait a minute, I was ready to commit," and it's like, "No, you weren't.
No, you weren't. You're a fucking liar. You're a goddamn liar."
They went full HUD on him.
You're a bitch. You're a fucking pussy bitch.
Went full hood on him.
And yeah, I mean, but for Oscar to just he had that locked and loaded. But yeah, I mean, he got fucked by Alpines twice.
Yeah, he was probably already thinking about it the first time. And then the second time, he was like, son of a bitch.
Fucking Alpines. I mean, there were a few other great radios today, but I don't want to stop. We'll stop the car, Lewis, but I don't want to stop. We don't care. Box to box. Yeah, they were talking on F1 TV. They were just like, Ferrari's so concerned with having the fastest race that they don't care about the position that they're in. Where it's just but this is the way that we get fastest. And it's okay, well, we'll get fourth regardless. So we might as well stay out and hope for a safety car.
Right. You got nothing to lose.
It's you're going to get fourth, whether you get fourth by 9-second gap to Leclerc or 15-second gap to Leclerc. Does that really matter?
But also maybe they're probably worried about the politics. They're going to have to hear Leclerc bitching about this later. It's oh, you overcut me? Okay. It's like, bro, it's for fourth place.
And just like deal with it. Like Lewis wanted to, it's like, I don't know. It's like if you're not going to lose position, you might as well take the gamble on getting a win if it's possible.
Yeah.
Like, but they don't want, it's just like.
They're too conservative.
They're a mess.
Yeah.
They're a mess. Karen of the day.
I mean, Oscar was pretty upset, rightfully so, with the Colapinto.
That's not really
he was
Karen.
outrageous.
I mean, he was
like not overreacting at all.
Right.
Who was a Karen?
Who was Karen? I feel like people were like,
I'm going Toto Wolff.
Okay.
I'm going Toto Wolff
for
creating this insane situation and then blaming other people
and then gaslighting
everyone into thinking
all we do is treat our drivers with respect. I'm like, no, actually, what you do is more disrespectful on some level.
Right, because you have these kumbaya vibes while you're literally chatting to another bird.
And it's like, and at the end of the day, like being straight up with people, it's like I watched enough reality TV and lived enough life to know that like the worst part is when you're like dishonest about something. It's like you can do bad shit, but if you like own up to it, like you're kind of good. But if you are like being like, I'm good, like I'm awesome, like no, like I love, and then you do like, it's so much worse. It's so much more painful.
Right. It's better to just be like, look, you're just a piece of meat to me.
Right.
And I just want, this is a physical relationship, nothing more.
Right.
Don't look for anything more because I am only physically available at this moment. What did Toto say? Didn't Toto? Jenny, you sent us something. What did he say?
Toto said about George, he's been part of our program for 10 years or so. He's always performed to the expectations that we have set, and he's continued to do so. We haven't given him a car to win a world championship in the last 3 years, so that's completely on us. And the times the car have been good, he's been winning races. But when pressed about whether he was flirting with Verstappen, he replied, define flirting. No, nothing has changed. There's no flirt in that sense. You can flirt or you have conversations. Wolff also admitted that the probability of Verstappen joining Mercedes is low, but the team principal said he must consider all options, especially with a four-time world champion potentially available. So it's like...
I wasn't flirting with her. I was just talking to her at 1 a.m, being like, you're so funny, Maxie. You're so funny.
In his like attempts, it's just like, but if you're not gonna... It's just like, at what point are you losing the whole thing by you're like, I'm just talking to him. I'm talking to, like,
Well, it's his job, but...
It's just... The whole thing is so annoying to me.
It's a great time to be a Toto Wolff hater until 2026 when they have the best car. So I'm going to get on all our shots now.
But it's just like, it's not even about like the car at this point. It's just like about like, there's this lauding of him as like, he's the guy who knows how to play stuff. It's like he wants it's the best of every.
It's giving Elon Musk. It's like, well, because he's rich, so he must be good at everything else.
And it's just like, but it's like he's so praised for the way that he like deals with Kimi, but then everyone ignores the way that he deals with George, and then he's like still talking to Max Verstappen, even though he's not going to get Max Verstappen this year. So it's like you're just doing this. Like every year, George has to be like, please sign me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. When your whole thing is about like culture.
Yeah.
It's not holding up.
There's a little bit of cognitive dissonance going on.
It's complete cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
So just be like honest that that's what it is. It's like, I want, yes, I want Max Verstappen. But then be honest about that. And then like be like, George just, I feel like I need to just defend George Russell. He needs us.
Red flag of the day?
Red flag of the day. Franco
Colapinto. I mean, almost ending.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
And for also hitting Yuki Tsunoda, let's not forget. That's how that happened, by the way.
Yes.
That's how I saw it.
Yes.
I saw Franco Colapinto turning in on Yuki Tsunoda.
Yuki. It's bad.
It's really bad.
It's really bad. We said this on the Patreon, but the only saving grace right now is that Liam Lawson might start out driving Hadjar, and if that can start to happen and there's a little bit of like, we don't know which one of them is actually better, then
then Yuki might be safe.
Maybe Yuki's safe, because if there's a clear, like, if this is a blip on the radar screen that, like, this is the one weekend where Lawson was better than Hadjar, but Hadjar, like, is just kicking ass the rest of the year, I don't see a world right now where they don't put him in the Red Bull seat next year.
Here's the thing. It's like Alex Albon, unfortunately, even though he only got 2 races and Albon got like a year plus.
Yeah.
I think they never put the guy back.
Right.
So if Liam kicks the shit out of Hadjar for the rest of the year, Liam's not going to be put back.
Yeah, we saw what they did with Gasly. Yeah, they don't do that.
They don't do that. So, but if Hadjar kicks the shit out of Liam, they might promote him.
Yeah.
So that's, if you're a Yuki fan,
I
hate to say it, but you're rooting against Hadjar right now.
you're rooting big time for Liam.
You're rooting big time for Liam.
And Liam even finishing ahead of Yuki is kind of okay.
I can live with that. I can live with that because of how badly he did in the Red Bull.
Right.
And they're not going to switch him back again. That's madness.
But even Max was nowhere this weekend. It was like Max got 7th in qualifying, and maybe even if he did.
And he turned into Kimi as well. So, like, they both had bad crashes.
All right. We're having fucking technical issues. That's why this episode's been choppy. We apologize.
Yeah.
But Silverstone, we're going to be in Silverstone. Predictions. What's happening?
Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris. I think Max Verstappen's going to be on the podium.
I think it's going to be Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, George Russell.
Ooh,
Georgie boy. I think looks like it's gonna be cool. Hopefully it's cool.
Yeah, like it was cool in Austria.
That's right. Fuck, marry, kill. Fuck, marry, kill this podium.
Killing Leclerc. Put him out of his misery. Fucking Oscar. Because I got to admit, I'm a dog person. I got to marry Lando at this point. I got to know. I know myself.
Right.
I know myself. I don't think I'd be able to deal.
You could work with Lando's anxiety. Yeah. You could work with Lando's, like, spin outs. I don't think you work with Oscar's, like, I'm fine. You'd be like,
yeah. I've dated both types, and I've been less successful with the avoidance.
Yes. I am also going to kill Leclerc, put him out of his misery. I'm going to fuck Oscar because I like this new fire. I want to fuck Oscar, like, right now. Just, like, piss off. And marry Lando because he's able to bounce back. I'm like what I'm seeing from the boy. This season is not fucking over yet, baby. We're gonna be in Silverstone. We'd love to see you there. But before we get out of this episode, this episode and this podcast would not be possible if it wasn't for our daddies of the pod. So we gotta thank Kayla, Robin, Jordan Texera, Jay Lingle, Spencer Grieve, Javier Mera, Sheila Valeri, Chandler, Ali Santana, Carla Juarlo, Kimberly Whalen, Alonso of My Face 69, Donya Denad, Deadbeat Daddy Muhammad, Jimmy, Kimmy, sponsored by Mommy of the Pod, Hollister 584, Delusional Science Fan, Kat, Future Dr. Dion, Steph Grossi, JB Fresh, Laura, Emily Gillenwater, Cody Hull is my F1 daddy, Branch W, keep up the science hate, Hunter Scruggs, Salmonella Mozzarella, I'm a Leclerc fan, and yes, it hurts. Jay Kess.
Can he finish this before it crashes? Let's go.
George Russell is Evil Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3. Matt Edwards is always right. I wish I was back to Danny's love child. Delaney Andrews, Henry Caskey, Miles Lewis, Alexander, the real Toto Wolf, Maggie B, Kaylee Breyer, Eva the Y, Aaron Fiber, Devin, a.k.a. the future Dr. Sullivan's PK, Courtney Fraser, Yuki Sonoda's other mother, Jenny is the reason I am a daddy, Megan, Aaron, Pineapple the Y, Matt has a secret boner for Carlos Sainz, unfortunately it's scary, Carolina, my name is AJ and fuck the HOA, K-Mac and fuck Smash My Door any day, the official F1 race program, and its executive editor Sarah, I got tickled by the Tifosi, hey Jet, good luck out there, Allison Sane, Zhuzh, F1 Dude Company, Trent Slickman, Code Brown Sonoda, Jerome Ferreira, Colapinto is a fraud, Aaron, Shahid, Jeans Rockstar, Chohun, Shake and Bake, Catalick My Balls, Stay Fierce, Charles Leclerc, Truth Bringer, Mama Burns, and the newest daddy, Arthur Leclerc, is hotter. Honorary Daddy of the Week this week, every week, Nicole Piastri. If you want to be a daddy of the pod, go to patreon.com/GRFpod.
Woo! Goodbye, Vegas!
We love you, Vegas! Bye!